If you have ever tried to sit in good posture or ideal posture after you haven't been sitting in ideal posture for a long time, you might notice it feels pretty uncomfortable. And one of the most common questions that we get is, why is good posture so uncomfortable? Or why does good posture hurt after a while? So in today's video, I wanted to tell you the top 4 reasons that good posture or ideal posture hurts or feels uncomfortable, and what the solutions are to those things, because it shouldn't hurt. Like, honestly, if your body is telling you that something's painful, you probably shouldn't do it. But that doesn't mean that you shouldn't work towards good posture. So in today's video, I'm going to tell you why it hurts and what you can do about it to make it stop hurting, but also get towards better posture so that you can reduce the strain on your body from being out of balance. Hi, my name is Catherine. I am the founder and principal therapist of LSM Clinic. My voice is a little bit hoarse today. You'll have to excuse me. Um, it's LSM Clinic is a multi-award-winning sport and remedial massage therapy clinic in East London. We help people with various types of work and sport and life-related aches and pains. We focus on client education so that you can be better connected to your body and live as close to pain-free as possible. If you enjoy this video, or if you know somebody else who might be interested in this topic, please do let them know about it, share, and if you like it, then more people will be able to see it. So let's talk about why good posture is uncomfortable, or why it hurts. Like, why does it hurt to sit in good posture? So the first reason is that your muscles aren't used to being in good posture, right? So when you try to sit in good posture, you're usually asking your body to do something it hasn't done for years. This is really interesting because if you look at little kids, they very often have good posture for the first few years of life, like when they start to move around, when they're sitting up, when they're walking, and then they'll start to slouch, I think, sometime between like 6 and 10. But they naturally kind of go in alignment and they naturally have great glute activation, but that's like another topic. And then, we start to hunch forward. We are looking at screens. We might feel self-conscious, so we hunch, or we might be taller than other people, so we hunch. We might feel depressed. Like, there's so many reasons that we end up in this kind of like forward down position. And so then what happens is your body gets used to that. It has muscles that help you kind of stay in that position. Certain muscles get short, and the muscles that need to work to keep you in an ideal posture position get underused. They get weak. The connection to them gets worse. So then when you try to sit in ideal posture, those muscles aren't used to having to do that job. Plus, number two. Sorry, I've already lost where I am. Number 2, you have all of these muscles that are acting as resistance against you. So the second reason, when you're trying to get into better posture, your muscles aren't working or aren't used to having to do that work. You have all of this tension in the front and the sides of the body that's pulling you out of alignment. Now, how do we know this is true, right? Because when we see clients in clinic who have like less than ideal positioning, and this is especially through the upper body, right? Because most of the time we're talking about like neck and shoulders when we talk about posture. When we release the tight muscles in the front and the side of the body, in the front of the neck, in the chest, in the lats, in stratus anterior, they naturally go into what we would say is ideal posture, or closer towards it, right? They might not go perfectly because we might not be able to release all the tension in one go, which shows that those muscles are pulling you out of alignment, right? Because if the only thing that we do is release the tension in the front and sides of the body, and you go towards what we consider to be ideal posture, that shows that those muscles are pulling you out of alignment, right? And there's habit as well, which is why we talk about posture being a habit. But so you have, number 1, your muscles aren't used to holding that position. Number two, you have all of this resistance. So it's like, think about the difference if you're holding your arms up. Like, let's say you're just holding your arms up. Like, think how easy that feels. But then the moment that you put any kind of weight on it, like let's say that you have like a 1 liter water bottle or a kettlebell, you do that and immediately it's so much harder, right? So when your posture muscles are trying to go into the right position, the resistance that's coming from them means that your muscles that are responsible for your posture are having to work so much harder. They're going to get fatigued more easily. It's going to feel tiring and it's going to feel uncomfortable. Number three, it's too different to the way that you have been before, right? So if you're so used to kind of being in this position, when you move into ideal posture, it's too big of a change, right? We have to think like if you go from this, it's not this to this, right? It's this to this to this to this. You have to make smaller changes so that your body can adjust. So when you try to go from really rolled forward, really kind of head forward, really shoulders forward, rounded back, and try to go straight, that's too much difference for your body. And that is going to feel uncomfortable. And then number four, usually when people say, oh, you know, I'm in good posture and it's really uncomfortable, in addition to the 3 reasons I've already said, often you're not actually in good posture because ideal posture actually feels too weird because it's so different to what you're used to. Often people go into good posture, they're actually overcompensating. So for example, we say open your shoulders and bring them down on your back. Well, what some people do is they bring their shoulders up and together and then they're overworking their rhomboids and their rhomboids get tired. And they're like, oh, well, this is hurting, but you're using the wrong muscle. Or they tuck their chin in, but they tuck their chin in too far. And so then they get discomfort here or maybe in other places. I'm just going to adjust this just a little bit. Okay. So because you're not used to ideal posture, it's really easy to go too far the other direction and do something that actually isn't good posture, that you think is good posture. Maybe you're arching your back or pushing in your chin too much or trying to keep your shoulders in a position that is the wrong position. And then that becomes uncomfortable because it's not the correct position. It's overcompensating. So those are the 4 reasons that we see that people, like when people say posture is uncomfortable, good posture hurts, that is usually why. Obviously, there's like some other things that can be going on, like if you have a structural problem in your neck or your shoulders, you know, there are variations depending on person to person. So I definitely recommend having someone look and check you personally to make sure that there's not something like other than these reasons. But these are the most common reasons that we see. Now, when good posture hurts, when it feels uncomfortable, it's natural to go, well, it's not worth it. I'm just going to go back to my normal posture. But that creates its own set of problems, right? So what are the solutions to the 4 things that I told you? Now, I don't know if these are all in the same order or not. I think I switched around a bit. So for your muscles not being used to being in this position because they've gotten underused, I think that was number 1. You need to think of training your posture muscles the same way that you would train yourself for any other event, right? So you're basically asking your posture muscles to hold a different position the majority of the day, right? You're not supposed to not move when you're in good posture. You're not supposed to be like a stick figure or a statue, but you do want to be kind of consistently head over the shoulders, shoulders down and towards each other, chest lifted, abs activated, just like a tiny, tiny bit, right? So you wouldn't go and run a marathon the first time you ever ran, right? Because you know your muscles aren't used to it. So in my mind, sitting in good posture for 8 hours without a break is like running a marathon for your body, like for your posture muscles. Does that make sense? So you can't just go, okay, now I'm going to have perfect posture all the time. You have to train those posture muscles. Now, obviously, things like yoga or Pilates or working with a trainer who understands like stability and core is going to be great. But a very simple way to do it is to just set an alarm for 3 times a day and just for 5 minutes, have ideal posture, like, or have your one step closer posture, which I'm going to talk about in a minute. That way you train your body to get used to it. And then once 5 minutes feels easy, do 6. If 5 minutes is too much, do 3. Like, we're going to talk about that tip a little bit more in the neck and shoulder pain challenge that we have coming up. If you're watching this before the 6th of November, if not, do get on our mailing list for tips for desk workers, because we do it once or twice a year. So you can always sign up for it again if you're on a mailing list. So that's the solution to your muscles aren't used to it. Number 2, release the resistance in your muscles. So, like we talked about, if you've got all of this tension and it's pulling you out of alignment, what do? You get rid of that resistance, right? So you can get a targeted sports massage or remedial massage like we offer with Create Instructional Massage. You can do stretches yourself. In my experience, a lot of Pilates and yoga don't always stretch the chest as much as I think is necessary to rebalance the body. But if you do our neck and shoulder pain course, we have a number of stretches for the front and sides of the body that's really good at making ideal posture easier. And we touch on it a little bit in the challenge that we have next week. So you can always check it out then. So release the resistance, and then your muscles won't have to work so hard to be in ideal posture. Number 3, don't try to have perfect posture. So when you're overcompensating, it's often because you don't know what good posture feels like. So you go too far. So the answer to that is just don't try to have perfect posture. Find your one step closer posture, which I'm going to talk a little bit about in just a minute. Because it's also for problem, the reason 3 or 4, I don't know, I'm totally off the numbers now, is don't go straight to perfect, right? So you know how I said, if you are trying to be perfect all the time, you are not used to using your muscles this way, your body's not used to it, it's too much of a change. So if you find the place that is just like, so let's say this is your not ideal posture and this is your ideal posture. Going from here to here is probably going to be too much of a change for your body. But if you go here and then you go backwards until you find something that feels more comfortable, but it's not quite here, then you let that be what feels normal to you. Then you go, your next time you go another step closer, and then you go another step closer. And it might feel like, and we do go into more detail, I think, in the challenge, but definitely in our neck and shoulder pain course, which I'll link below. Even though it might seem like you need to have perfect posture to help your neck and shoulders, actually, every little bit really does help. So if you are slightly better, you're putting slightly less water into the bucket, and it's going to take slightly longer for your problems to come back, right? And it allows your body to adapt, because your body has adapted over time to the position that you hold it in now. And so it has to adapt back to that ideal posture. That was probably how you started. So try to find your one step closer posture. Now, those are my solutions to the problems I said. Hopefully that all made sense. And I just want to go into a little bit more detail about the one step closer posture. So I talk about it in our free neck and shoulder pain desk worker workshop, where we also show you a stretch for the chest. We talk about it in the challenge that we're having next week, or that we have once or twice a year if you've missed it for November. And in our neck and shoulder pain course, in a lot of detail in the neck and shoulder pain course. But basically think either work with someone. Like, I think the best option is to find someone who knows this stuff and have them put you in ideal posture so you can feel it, right? Because often we don't know what good posture feels like because it feels so foreign to us. So having someone who can look at your body and go, here's the alignment we're going for, and you'll feel how weird and uncomfortable it feels. And then you find that one step closer, and they can help you, right? They can be like, oh, what if you let go of your chin a little bit? What if you let your shoulders go a little bit? What if you like lengthen your neck or like lift a little bit from here? You know, they can strategize, or we can strategize with you to find your one step closer posture that feels good to you. And then you can do that like 3 times a day for 5 minutes. Or if you have a resource, like, so we have a resource in our neck and shoulder pain course that walks you through perfect posture or ideal posture. And then you can look at yourself in a mirror and then find what feels better that's close to that, but that isn't you trying to do that. So it still feels comfortable, because comfortable should actually be your benchmark. With all of this body stuff, you should not be putting yourself through a lot of pain or discomfort when it comes to posture, when it comes to positioning, right? Like, I'm not talking about when you're weightlifting or when you're like improving your distance on your runs, right? Okay, so hopefully that helps explain why good posture hurts, why it doesn't feel good. If you enjoyed it, or if you have any thoughts, please feel free to leave them below. If you haven't already subscribed to our channel, please do. Share it with anybody else who struggles with with posture being uncomfortable. And if you see this before the 6th of November, please do join the link to sign up for our challenge. Otherwise, I've put the link below for the free neck and shoulder pain workshop for desk workers, and our desk worker resources, and our neck and shoulder pain course. So hopefully that will all be helpful. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye.